You up to speed on what's been going on last night in the same back room that they shoot Mind the Game in, right behind the plywood. An elite group of analysts, savants, and poker players who have never seen Rounders. Did you see it? You ever seen it? Malkovich is in it. It's funny.
Pretty good.
It's really good. He's got some Oreos. That's his tail. Oh, spoiler alert. Fought and toiled and burned the midnight oil to deliver the best segment in all sports. It's an honor and it's a privilege to introduce a pre-training camp edition of Nick's Tears.
Thank you, as always, for the wonderful, if not slightly misleading introduction.
What was
Kevin
misleading?
Lyles. Well, we weren't in the Mind the Game studio.
Oh, I thought you were.
We were via Zoom because, again, the committee gets, much like my friend Scott Van Pelt, a nice little summer break.
Oh.
Couple months off,
Van Pelt's
before the
taking
real
months off?
Van Pelt took 2 months off. I love him.
Good for him.
God bless him. He's the greatest.
He was working the finals late.
Yeah, he was working the guy's
doing
working. He
Masters.
deserves it. This is a heartfelt compliment to one of the greatest people in sports media.
That's true.
But the committee, I'm not saying Scott's a member of the committee. I'm simply saying our schedule mirrors his. We had to zoom in. Had to get people in to do post-draft, pre-training camp edition of the Tiers. Speaking of post-draft, bottom of the Tiers, on the clock again. Titans, Browns, Giants, Saints. I apologize. The only team here that I think has maybe a shot of surprising people this year is the Giants. Because there is at least a bit of a blueprint across NFL history of if you actually have the best, the number one defensive line in football, that might make your floor 8 wins. And so that plus, I think maybe it could be good to have a desperate coach in Dable, better quarterback play, maybe, but in reality, they're at the bottom of the tiers. Next group, Octobox residents.
Wow.
And by that I mean,
What a name.
are you going to watch these? You know how you're going to watch these games? In Octobox, small little corner up there. It's like, oh, there's the Colts. Oh, how's Justin Fields doing today? Not getting solo screens.
No.
Tell you that much right now. Apologies, Seahawks. You lost my guy Geno. The Jets, I like what they're doing, but they're a bit of a reset year. The Colts quarterback is either going to be Daniel Jones or an MC. Falcons, I like the weapons. We'll see about Penix. And Wilds is rooting for Bryce.
Yes.
But
Me too.
Coach is rooting for Bryce as well. Going streaking, Cowboys, Steelers, Dolphins. They're all trying to break really mortifying streaks for 3 dynastic franchises. Like, the Dolphins had a mini dynasty. They went to 3 straight Super Bowls, 1 back-to-back. It was 50 years ago. It's almost how long since they've won a playoff game, which was almost a quarter century ago. The Steelers, the only team with a longer, I think, playoff losing streak than the Steelers is the Dolphins. And the Cowboys, obviously, haven't won multiple playoff games in a season in 30 years. Next, actual sleepers. So by that, I mean this. Well, we'll get to what the other sleepers are in a moment, I should say. But if you have the guts, the courage to pick any of these 4 teams, much less multiple of these 4 teams, I think Wilds might pick 3 of these 4 teams.
Wow.
To make the playoffs, you get real sleeper bragging rights. Because these are teams that don't have real expectations this year. They don't have a lot of buzz. I know that they are somewhat show favorites, oddly enough. But those would be actual sleepers. And I think 2 of those 4 are going to be in the playoffs next year.
Wow.
Which 2?
Wow.
To be discussed later.
I know.
Pretend sleepers. This is going to be people are going to, you won't believe who I have making the playoffs. The Cincinnati Bengals. Yeah, okay, buddy. Yeah, we get it. Guys, no one's going to have this take. But this is the year that someone dethrones Patrick Mahomes. Actually, everybody has that take, and they've had it for 3 or 4 years in a row now. So I'm not saying any of those teams can't or won't make the playoffs. I'm saying you don't get sleeper credit for that. It's like filling out 7 March Madness brackets and be like, I had that upset. You had all the upsets. Not a real sleeper. Hot seat. Not necessarily just coaches here. Either a coach or a quarterback for all 4 of these teams is under massive pressure. For the Bucs, I don't think it's fair. But Todd Bowles is perennially seemingly on the hot seat. I think he's a good coach. I think he's proven he's a good coach. I think they've exceeded expectations the last couple of years. But you read the local Tampa Bay Times. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Tampa Bay Times, thank you. And it seems like it's like, man, it's about time for the Bucs to win a playoff game. Is it? Like maybe, I guess they won one a couple years ago against the Eagles. For the Bears, obviously his job wouldn't be in jeopardy, but there's a lot of pressure on Caleb. Now, Wildes is going to put a lot of pressure on Ben Johnson because he doesn't like the tush-push quote, but I think most people like Ben Johnson. There is real pressure on Caleb to show what he showed throughout his brilliant high school and collegiate career. I don't know why you're laughing. It's just what it did. There's, I think, obvious real pressure on Brock Purdy. Once you get paid like the man, you need to play like the man. Can't have back-to-back losing seasons going in the wrong direction. And again, this is going to come from Wildes, but there's going to be intense, sneaky pressure on Kevin O'Connell. Because Wildes is going to be like, oh, 14 wins, 4,000 yards. Wasn't good enough for you. Oh, let it walk out.
Did he let it walk out, or did the GM let it walk out?
Well, you got to throw your body in front of that.
I'm just telling you.
Hey, we won 14 games last year.
And the other thing is this, for a guy in Kevin O'Connell who is consistently talked about, not on the Andy Reid, Sean McVay, or as I have to include thanks to Wildes, Nick Sirianni level of coaches, but on that next group, he's never won a playoff game.
Yeah, and they're bad in the playoffs.
Right. They've been bad playoff losers.
They're really bad.
Ripe for regression. So again, this doesn't necessarily mean these teams are going to be bad. You see where they are on the tiers. However, to me, there are some concerning signs. And if you remember, for the Packers and Texans, going into last year, we thought there might be some concerning signs. Now, they ended up finding their way into the playoffs again anyway. I still don't think the Packers have a number one receiver. I think they've got like 3 number 3s and 2 number 2s and not a number 1. The Texans, I have huge concerns about their offensive line. Huge. And I think that was their biggest weakness last year. And Washington, the flip side too is, oh my God, every close game we win can sometimes the next year be like, man, we sure lost a lot of close games, didn't we? And so I just would be a little concerned about elevating any of those teams higher.
Kansas City worried about that? Or?
When you have 7 straight years of greatness, you're not really that worried about it. When you've proven you're the outlier. So you know a lot about that.
Yeah,
next, last dance, question mark. So here's, for the Rams, this is very simple. I think that any year at this point with Stafford could be the last one. And so I think McVay is kind of recommitted to coaching, but I think with Stafford, it could certainly be the last dance. You add an older receiver in Devontae Adams, like you're going for it. Here's what I mean for the Lions. I don't think the Lions can have 3 consecutive years of awesome regular seasons, we can win the Super Bowl, heartbreaking, crushing, stomach punch playoff defeats without at least actually reaching a Super Bowl, and then just run it all back the same way in year 4. Now, again, Dan Campbell is as safe as any coach in the league, and Goff is beloved there. So I don't know exactly what that change would be, but I don't think you can sustain what happened to them last year again this year. Jerry West. Drew, what's Jerry West known for?
MVP.
No, okay, well, that too. But here's the other thing he's known for. This guy's one of the greatest ever. It's not his fault. He just ran into Russell Celtics again and again and again. Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. They're both MVPs. They both appear to be on Hall of Fame trajectories. I think Lamar's locked into the Hall of Fame with multiple MVPs, and Josh is damn near locked into the Hall of Fame given his touchdown numbers, winning an MVP, all of that. It's not their fault. They just run into Patrick Mahomes year after year after year. Might be the second and third best teams in football the last half decade. There's no hardware to show for it, no even Super Bowls. 2024 champs, top the tiers, Philadelphia Eagles, champs are the champs. They deserve it, coach. They won the Super Bowl. They won it in resounding fashion. However, it is now the 2025 season.
I mean,
Wait,
and last year is just last year. So you know the only thing better than the 2024 champs, I know it's not predictions week, the 2025 champs, the Kansas City Chiefs. The Eagles had their day in the sun. Didn't, coach, do you defend your title or do you start brand new?
Start brand new.
Start brand new. There's nothing to defend. You can't lose it. That banner
can't be
hangs.
taken away.
You get your ring. Exactly. They get their ring soon. Can't be taken away. But it's a new season. That is the latest edition
Wow.
of the tiers.
Well, as is often the case with the tiers, I have multiple beefs.
Doesn't Coach go first?
Oh, is it Coach?
No, you can go.
No, I don't think.
Thank you, Coach.
Okay.
A bonus beef to start.
Bonus beef.
Yeah, the Chargers, you're right. They are not a sleeper. They are not a real sleeper. They're just going to be downright good. They need to move up a tier or two.
Why?
All right, because Harbaugh is an excellent coach. He only took them, we know what he did in San Francisco, but he took them from 5 wins last year to 11 wins, 2 years ago.
Sure.
11 wins last year. Defense went from 24th in scoring
To
defense
first.
to first.
Yeah.
Now he's got better running backs, I think, in Najee Harris. And I'm excited about the rookie out of North Carolina, Omarion Hampton.
He's a beast.
Yeah, and I think Herbert, he's just going to work with him and make him better, even though he won't throw it as much. Like, I think they are going to have a very good season.
Can I just?
So they need to move up. That's just my
before you go
bonus.
to your next thing. I hear a lot of this about the Chargers. Can we all agree, just definitionally, they won't have a better defense than they did last year when it was number 1 in the league?
Well, what
No,
if
they'll have a better offense.
But here's
And the
thing.
defense will still be
I
good.
don't know that they're going to have. You're going to get a better year from Herbert than what I think was 21 touchdowns to 3 interceptions, and it was a paragon of efficiency until, of course, he had to play in a game that mattered. And he had more interceptions in that game than he had in the whole regular season. Like the Chargers, the perpetual belief that this is the year for the Chargers.
No, I'm not saying they're winning the Super Bowl, but they're going to be better than
It's just a bonus.
wherever that is.
sorry, my bad.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
okay.
Herbert will be better. But
How's he? Okay.
really, he's going to throw more than 21 touchdowns.
Okay. This is bonus.
San Francisco, this is my real take.
Yeah.
Move them up. Move
I
them
gave-
up 2 tiers. Right there with your Rams, who you always love, and Detroit. It's a little much. San Francisco is going to win, yes, I'm saying it right now, the NFC West. They got all they don't have it's not a supernova. Bill Barnwell put them the 4th best weapons in the league. I think that's way too high. But they do have some pretty good weapons with Ayuk being back, assuming he's what he used to be. Christian McCaffrey's back. He's not going to be what he used to. I do not think McCaffrey's going to be close to what he was.
Why are you?
But with him and Garrindo, and then Jawan Jennings, who took a big jump last year, and I do like Ricky Pearsall
Why? Do you like
because he's very good.
no,
All right,
that's not what I
so
thought you-
he's going to have a big year. What do you think I was going to say?
Something about him being good despite being shot in the
Well,
chest.
last year in coaching was shot, and he played well, shot in the chest, and he actually played well.
You
So
gotta,
imagine
gotta
what
give
he's
him
going to be like
credit.
when he doesn't get
Yeah,
shot.
you don't get shot.
All right?
Think about how good he
Right.
can play.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
Robert Saleh with the defense. I know the defense took a step back last year.
that's
I think he's going to improve it, though. You still got Fred Warner. You still got Nick Bosa.
That's it, though.
They-
Those are
but-
the only guys you still got.
But they got some young guys that played last year that took some lumps, and I think they
So
will be
this
better
is-
and more experienced. And they have the easiest schedule in
True.
the league.
Again,
That is
I
nice.
don't. How
They're gonna be the
how
number 3
hard
seed
or
in the NFC.
How hard or easy your schedule is does not factor into tiers. Because that has nothing to do.
Why not?
It should.
It's about where these
Tiers
teams will
is
finish.
Yeah,
the
exactly.
world's most accurate and trusted ranking system of the quality of teams.
Yeah.
It is not. We're doing the math on, well, you actually are going to get to play easier teams than this team. It's
of
why
course.
it's not the standings.
full
If it was
committee.
a standings projection,
Or power rankings.
then or a power rankings, God forbid, then we would factor more into what your schedule is. I don't care.
No one's raising their hand in the committee and being like they've got the easiest schedule.
No.
They're going to win 13 games.
You
We
think they're going to win
projected it out, or
13
modeled.
games? Okay, so
12, 13
so
games.
I
12.
think that's insane.
13 games.
And here's the other thing about the Niners. And listen, Kevin Wiles doesn't believe in Kyle Shanahan and his flat-brimmed hats. I do believe in Kyle Shanahan, but there's a few. Sometimes I wish I was arguing on Wild's behalf on some of the Shanahan stuff, because there is a very noteworthy anti-Kyle Shanahan point that you never bring up.
What is
So
it?
I give it to you. Every single year his teams have been good and made the playoffs, they have had a top 3 scoring defense or yards defense, and he's not the defensive guy. When the defense hasn't been elite, the team has been below 500 every time. And I do like Saleh.
And it's the health.
But I think this is the worst defensive personnel they've had since his first year there. The year that they traded for Jimmy midway through the year. Nick Bosa's very good when he's healthy, and Fred Warner's a future Hall of Famer. The entire secondary is new. They have remade the front seven as well, aside from those two pieces. So I just don't think they're going to be able to rely on that defense, even with Saleh, who I think is obviously excellent at that. So I thought I was giving the Niners, who won 6 games within 6 or 7 games last year, benefit of the doubt. I've got them.
Like they didn't have injuries last year.
And this is we'll go around and around on this. So then let's give it to Coach. You talk about them as if we're playing Madden and we're going to flick the injuries off. I think Brandon Ayuk, coming off a torn ACL, is not going to be the old Brandon Ayuk. I think Christian McCaffrey, who has suffered massive injuries in 3 of his 7 years, and last year had tendonitis spread to the other leg like a fungus, I think that guy is a bit of an injury risk.
But their run game is always pretty strong.
Okay, and so, that part is true.
Right.
No, I thought I was nice to him. I have him above a great team like the Jags. Go ahead.
I love the fact that you brought a bonus beef into this.
Yeah.
I mean, the way that you add to each segment, it's really special.
Thank you, Coach.
But I will say, Nick, I have missed the tears. And
Thank you.
I think the committee does an outstanding job.
Thank you.
I don't know who chooses the category.
We always tell you it's Marshall.
Oh,
Is it Marshall?
Marshall, yeah.
That's Marshall.
Marshall needs a raise.
He's the best.
However you compensate people, it needs to,
U.S. Open tickets.
yeah, Marshall needs to get a
Would be
little bit more
reconvened
than
in
what
August.
he's getting.
Yeah.
But I thought for your first rattle out of the box, this is pretty good.
Okay.
Now I do have a problem with where you have Washington.
Wow.
You're back in?
Look, I was in last year. I know you hate Jaden Daniels.
I don't. That's take
You
that
never
back.
liked him one bit since it came out because
I
he's too
don't
skinny.
like skinny athletes.
Yes,
it's the theme of
I
today's
get that.
show.
Yeah.
From
And
Chet to
Kevin Durant's pretty
Jaden,
skinny.
I don't
He
like.
doesn't like Ched. He doesn't like Jaden. I get it.
Wimby.
And
They scare me.
Skinny Luca.
and it was
Skinny
justified.
Luka, exactly
That's why I
right. Go
love
ahead.
It was,
Chunky.
your fears were absolutely justified last season by how poorly he played.
Well, when's the
hopefully-
one time he had a bit of a slump?
Hopefully now
Cracked ribs.
he's put on a little bit of weight.
Yeah.
I am a little bit gun shy based off of my experience last year with CJ. They're following a very similar pattern where they went out and got the free agents in Tunsil and then
Debo.
with Debo.
Yeah.
I do like the fact that they complemented Tunsil with another first-round draft pick at offensive tackle, so they're solidify the offensive line. They
like
go
that
get
too.
another weapon for Jaden, and I'm assuming that he's going to continue to move forward as opposed to what we saw with CJ last year, where
That's
CJ
all-
did take a little bit of a step back, and you could easily put him in the tier above. Because with Detroit, you lose both coordinators. There should be an effect there.
Yeah.
And I know you love the Rams,
true.
and I know you love Stafford, and I like Stafford a lot too. But you
No.
can easily put Washington in that
So
same tier.
I understand that. This is where, you and I have been talking football together for so long.
It has been a long
It's a long time. Every once in a while, Coach, more than every once in a while, I say something and I'm like, I sound like Coach Mangini. I'm like and it's
Nice
usually
to
one of
hear.
the smarter things I say. I don't do that. But every once in a while, you have a take, and I'm like, this guy's been hanging out with me. Like the young quarterback who had the amazing rookie year, whose team spent the offseason upgrading his side of the ball when the defense last year was not good and now goes into next year with similar questions, would not be 2018 Coach Mangini would not have been in on Washington.
I do have a soft spot for Dan Quinn.
Yes, that's true.
So he was my defensive line coach in New York. I have a lot of
Mine too,
confidence
oddly.
in his ability
Yeah,
to improve the
yeah,
defense.
I agree.
And I think that happens a lot of times with head coaches who have a specialty. You're willing to put more resources on the other side of the ball because you have a confidence that you can fix the problems on your side of the ball.
I'm going to throw a curveball for mine.
Nice.
Really?
Yes. What I think makes this show, I won't compare it to other shows. What we try to do on the show is be steadfast in our opinions, but malleable enough that if you make a good point, you can change our mind. Otherwise, it's just constantly, going nowhere.
Yeah.
So I originally had the Eagles as the #1 team until they lose a game. Because they're the Super Bowl champs and they are on one heck of a run. In September, they were 2-2, but from October to February, they went 16-1. The point per game differential, which I always am a fan of, they were plus 14. Turnover differential, they were plus 29. Their only loss was that Commanders game where Jalen Hurts got hurt. Then I thought about it. I said, do they deserve to be at the top of the tiers in a new year, especially with the way the Super Bowl ended?
I hate this guy. I gotta tell you,
The game doesn't end when you're covered in Gatorade.
No.
The game goes the whole way.
You got to play through.
After this moment, the Eagles took their foot off the gas. The Eagles gave
Chiefs
up
kept pushing.
16 points to the Chiefs in the final 3 minutes to make that a moderately respectful game. Is that the heart of a champion?
Nope.
Oh,
I don't remember another team giving up 16 points in the final 247. So I think you're right. I think they have for most of I was thinking Eagles. Then all of a sudden, those final 3 minutes, that Super Bowl belonged to the Chiefs.
Yep.
If you play that game again,
well, that part
final
might be
3
true.
minutes.
But not the final 3
Just
minutes.
not. Holy cow, we're in the hundreds.
Play that game 100 times. And is there a single game the Eagles play better and the single game the Chiefs play worse? The answer
now,
is
granted,
no.
in the first
but that's
half,
not how it works.
Mahomes had
That's
more
not how
yards
it
to
works.
Cooper DeJean than his own teammates, but still, that final 3 minutes, I saw something.
Yeah.
So I agree with you.
Wow.
And that's what makes our show unique and special.